China and Russia plan ambitious lunar nuclear plant, a strategic leap in space power generation by 2025. Date, April 24, 2025. Overview. China and Russia have unveiled an ambitious plan to establish a nuclear power plant on the Moon by 2025 as part of their collaborative effort on the International Lunar Research Station (ILRS). This initiative marks a significant advancement in both nations' capabilities in space exploration and energy generation, indicating a strategic leap in lunar power generation. Key plans and goals. 1. Nuclear power plant development. The ILRS will feature a nuclear reactor on the Moon's surface, which was highlighted by Pei Xiaoyu, chief engineer of China's Chang'e 8 mission. The reactor is expected to provide a critical energy supply for the lunar base. Additionally, large-scale solar arrays will be employed to supplement energy production. 2. Development timeline. The Chang'e 8 mission, set for launch in 2028, will lay the groundwork for a permanent manned lunar base with aspirations to land astronauts on the Moon by 2030. The first version of the ILRS is anticipated to be completed by 2035, with a focus on the lunar South Pole as its operational center. This timeline aligns with NASA's Artemis program, which aims to return astronauts to the lunar surface by December 2025. 3. International collaboration. Under the 555 project, China aims to involve 50 countries, 500 research institutions, and 5,000 international researchers in the ILRS. This collaborative approach is a response to increasing geopolitical tensions and the necessity for joint scientific endeavors. Strategic importance. Nuclear power in space exploration. Both China and Russia underscore the vital role of nuclear power in sustainable space exploration, with the Moon offering a unique environment for energy generation. The proposed nuclear reactor could significantly enhance the feasibility of long-term human presence on lunar surfaces. Geopolitical context. The partnership has gained urgency due to Western sanctions on Russia that have limited its access to various space technologies. This geopolitical backdrop has fostered a stronger alliance between Roscosmos, Russia's space agency, and the China National Space Administration (CNSA). Perspectives on commitment and feasibility. While the official plans highlight a nuclear reactor's inclusion in the ILRS, the technical feasibility and commitment levels have sparked debate. Some analysts note that China has not formally confirmed the nuclear aspect despite its prominence in presentations. The context of international relations is also perceived differently among commentators. Some emphasize the impact of sanctions on Russia's space capabilities, while others focus on China's ambitions to emerge as a predominant force in space exploration. Key milestones. 2025, target completion date for the lunar nuclear plant. 2028, launch of the Chang'e 8 mission, foundational for establishing a permanent lunar base. 2030, China aims to land astronauts on the Moon. 2035, expected completion of the ILRS's basic model focusing on lunar South Pole investigations. Collaborative framework. The initiative not only enhances space power generation capabilities but also represents a significant step forward in international cooperation in space exploration amid evolving geopolitical dynamics. The ILRS is positioned as a collaborative effort that brings together multiple nations and institutions aiming to foster scientific research and exploration beyond Earth. Sources and reporting. The information on this development has been compiled from various reputable sources, including 1. Reuters, coverage on the presentation by Pei Xiaoyu and the implications of the ILRS project. China-led lunar base to include nuclear power plant on Moon's surface. Space official sessions www.reuters.com/business/energy/ China-led lunar base include nuclear power plant Moon's surface. Space official 2025-04-23/. 2. Yahoo News, insights into the collaborative nature of the project and the role of the nuclear reactor. China-Russia may build nuclear plant on moon to power lunar station. Official sessions www.yahoo.com/news/China-led lunar nuclear power 0708292237.html. 3. Economic Times, overview of the project's goals and timeline in the context of the Chang'e missions. China-led lunar base to include nuclear power plant on moon's surface. Space official sessions m.economictimes.com/news/international/global trends/China-led lunar base to include nuclear power plant on moon's surface. Space official /article show /120545290.cms. In conclusion, the China-Russia collaboration on a lunar nuclear power plant signals a pivotal moment in the quest for sustainable energy solutions in space, while also reflecting broader geopolitical trends and the importance of international partnerships in advancing scientific frontiers. The announcement by China and Russia regarding their plans to establish a nuclear power plant on the Moon by 2025 as part of the International Lunar Research Station (ILRS) is laden with counterintuitive elements that challenge conventional understanding of space exploration and international collaboration. Counterintuitive elements. 1. Nuclear power in space. While nuclear power is often viewed with trepidation on Earth due to safety and environmental concerns, its potential application in space, particularly on the Moon, is seen as a positive development. The idea of using nuclear reactors for sustained energy generation in a harsh environment like the Moon contradicts common perceptions of nuclear energy as dangerous or impractical. The rationale is that the Moon's lack of atmosphere makes solar energy less reliable, thus nuclear power emerges as a more viable long-term solution. 2. Collaboration amid sanctions. The collaboration between China and Russia in the face of Western sanctions is another surprising aspect. Typically, sanctions are designed to isolate nations economically and politically. However, in this case, they have inadvertently strengthened the partnership between the two countries, particularly in the arena of advanced space technology. This suggests that geopolitical pressures can sometimes foster unexpected alliances rather than deter cooperation. 3. China's role as a space power. The traditional narrative often places the United States at the forefront of space exploration, especially with its Artemis program aimed at lunar return. However, China's aggressive timeline and ambitious goals, landing astronauts by 2030 and establishing a permanent base by 2035, highlight a shift in the space power dynamics. The fact that China is positioning itself to lead international lunar efforts, including inviting global collaboration, challenges the expectation that the U.S. will remain the primary player in space exploration. 4. The 555 project scope. The 555 project, which aims to invite a vast network of international collaborators, stands in contrast to the often insular nature of space programs. The expectation that 50 countries and thousands of researchers will rally around a project led by China and Russia raises questions about sovereignty, technological sharing, and the potential influence of these nations in shaping future space governance. 5. Technical feasibility debates. While plans for a nuclear reactor on the Moon are being discussed, the technical feasibility of such an ambitious project remains uncertain. The counterintuitive aspect here is that despite the high stakes and potential for technological advancement, there is significant skepticism regarding the timeline and actual capability to deploy a nuclear reactor in the harsh lunar environment. This reflects a broader theme in space exploration where aspirational goals often outpace practical readiness. 6. Sustainability versus technology dependency. The emphasis on nuclear energy and large-scale solar arrays for the lunar base introduces a paradox. While these technologies are intended to ensure sustainability in human activities on the Moon, they also create a dependency on advanced technologies that may not be fully tested in extraterrestrial environments. This contrast between seeking sustainable energy solutions and the risks associated with reliance on complex technological systems is a nuanced point that complicates the narrative of progress in space exploration. 7. Geopolitical implications of lunar resources. The prospect of exploring lunar resources and potentially using them as fuel brings to light the complexities of space resource management. While the idea of utilizing the moon's materials for energy aligns with sustainable practices, it also raises ethical and legal questions about ownership and exploitation of extraterrestrial resources. The assumption that such collaborations will be straightforward is countered by historical precedents on Earth where resource extraction has often led to conflict and exploitation. 8. The role of geopolitical tensions. The heightened geopolitical tensions, particularly after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, have driven countries like Russia to seek alternative partnerships in space. The expectation that countries will avoid collaboration in times of international strife is challenged by this scenario where necessity breeds cooperation. This reflects a more complex reality where global crises can lead to unexpected collaborations in pursuit of shared goals. In summary, the plans by China and Russia to establish a lunar nuclear power plant reveal a multifaceted interplay of technological ambition, international relations, and the evolving landscape of space exploration. The counterintuitive aspects highlighted here demonstrate that the future of space endeavors may not follow traditional narratives but rather evolve through complex, often paradoxical dynamics. The announcement regarding the collaborative plans between China and Russia to establish a nuclear power plant on the Moon as part of the International Lunar Research Station (ILRS) represents a significant strategic shift in space exploration and energy production. While much of the media coverage has focused on the ambitious timeline and technical aspects of the project, there are several critical elements that may be overlooked yet are pivotal for understanding the broader implications of this initiative. 1. Geopolitical context and motivations. One of the most significant yet frequently understated aspects of this lunar nuclear initiative is the geopolitical context in which it is occurring. The collaboration between China and Russia is not merely a scientific endeavor, it reflects a strategic response to increasing tensions with Western nations, particularly the United States. Following the imposition of sanctions on Russia due to its actions in Ukraine, the country has been seeking new partnerships to mitigate its technological isolation. China's involvement serves a dual purpose. It bolsters Russia's space capabilities while simultaneously enhancing its own status as a leading space power. This partnership could be viewed as a counterbalance to US-led space initiatives exemplified by NASA's Artemis program. The significance of this geopolitical backdrop cannot be overstated, as it suggests that space exploration is becoming an arena for international power dynamics, with nations leveraging technological advancements to assert their influence globally. 2. The role of nuclear power in space exploration. While the idea of a nuclear reactor on the Moon might seem straightforward, the significance of nuclear power in the context of sustainable energy for long-term lunar missions is profound. Nuclear energy offers several advantages over solar power, particularly in the harsh lunar environment where sunlight is inconsistent and can be obstructed by lunar features. The focus on nuclear power highlights a growing recognition of the need for reliable long-term energy sources in space. Many discussions in the media might skim over the technical challenges and potential risks associated with launching and operating a nuclear reactor in space. However, the ability to harness nuclear energy could revolutionize not only lunar exploration but also future missions to Mars and beyond, where energy demands will be considerably higher. 3. Technological feasibility and challenges. Another aspect that may not receive adequate attention is the technical feasibility of deploying a nuclear reactor on the Moon. The challenges associated with this endeavor are immense, including ensuring the safety of the reactor, developing technology that can withstand the lunar environment, and creating a sustainable supply chain for the necessary materials. Critics and experts have raised questions about whether the proposed timeline is realistic given the current state of technology and the complexities involved in space missions. The absence of detailed public plans regarding the reactor's design and operational protocols raises concerns about the project's viability. This skepticism is compounded by the fact that despite the official presentations, there has been no formal confirmation from Chinese authorities regarding the nuclear component, indicating uncertainty that could affect project momentum. 4. International collaboration and the 555 project. The 555 project, which aims to involve 50 countries, 500 research institutions, and 5,000 researchers, signifies a shift towards more inclusive international collaboration in space exploration. However, the implications of this collaborative approach are complex. On one hand, such initiatives can foster global scientific advancement and technological exchange, potentially leading to breakthroughs that benefit humanity as a whole. On the other hand, there is a risk that the ILRS could become a vehicle for geopolitical posturing where participation is contingent upon alignment with Chinese or Russian interests. This duality raises critical questions about the nature of international cooperation in the context of space exploration. Will it be genuinely collaborative, or will it serve as a means for expanding national influence? 5. Potential impacts on space governance. The establishment of a nuclear power plant on the Moon could have significant implications for international space governance. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967, which governs activities in space, emphasizes the peaceful use of outer space and prohibits nuclear weapons in space. However, the deployment of nuclear power for energy generation raises questions about compliance with existing treaties and the need for updated regulations to address emerging technologies. As nations like China and Russia pave the way for new lunar infrastructure, there may be a push to redefine what constitutes peaceful use of outer space. This potential shift could lead to increased competition and conflict over lunar resources, as well as calls for new governance frameworks to regulate the use of nuclear technology beyond Earth. Conclusion. In summary, the China-Russia Lunar Nuclear Plant initiative is a multifaceted undertaking with implications that extend far beyond technical specifications and timelines. The geopolitical context, the strategic importance of nuclear energy, the challenges of technological feasibility, the nature of international collaboration, and the potential impacts on space governance are all critical elements that deserve closer scrutiny. Understanding these dimensions is essential for grasping the full significance of this ambitious project and its potential to reshape the landscape of space exploration in the coming decades. 1. Strategic collaboration and geopolitical context. The collaboration between China and Russia on the International Lunar Research Station (ILRS) is a significant strategic move, particularly in the context of increasing geopolitical tensions and Western sanctions against Russia. This partnership not only aims to enhance their technological capabilities in space exploration but also serves to bolster Russia's access to necessary technologies that have been restricted due to sanctions. The ILRS initiative reflects a broader trend of nations seeking to collaborate in scientific endeavors amid political challenges, potentially reshaping international relations in space exploration. 2. Ambitious technological goals and timelines. The timeline for the development of the lunar nuclear plant and the establishment of a permanent manned lunar base showcases the ambitious goals of both nations. The proposed completion of the nuclear plant by 2025 alongside the Chang'e 8 mission in 2028 that aims to lay the groundwork for this base signals a concerted effort to advance lunar exploration capabilities rapidly. The target of landing astronauts on the Moon by 2030 further emphasizes the urgency and commitment of China and Russia to becoming leading powers in space, paralleling the timelines set by NASA's Artemis program. 3. Nuclear power as a sustainable energy source. The inclusion of a nuclear reactor as a key component of the lunar base underscores the importance of sustainable energy solutions for long-term space missions. Both countries recognize that nuclear power, in addition to large-scale solar arrays, is essential for providing a reliable and continuous energy supply on the Moon. This strategic focus on nuclear energy not only reflects technological advancements but also addresses the challenges of energy sustainability in extraterrestrial environments, which is critical for future lunar habitation and exploration. 4. International collaboration and global scientific engagement. The 555 project, which aims to involve 50 countries and 5,000 researchers in the ILRS, signifies a shift towards inclusive international cooperation in space research. This initiative is particularly noteworthy as it seeks to gather a diverse array of contributions from various nations, transforming the ILRS into a global scientific endeavor. Such collaboration may mitigate some geopolitical tensions by fostering partnerships that transcend national interests, potentially leading to shared scientific advancements and a more cooperative framework for future space exploration initiatives. 1. Apollo Program 1961–1972. The Apollo program was a series of space missions conducted by NASA aimed at landing humans on the Moon and safely returning them to Earth. The most famous mission, Apollo 11, achieved this goal on July 20, 1969, when astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to set foot on the lunar surface. The program was not only a technological feat but also a significant geopolitical maneuver during the Cold War, showcasing American space capabilities at a time when the United States was competing with the Soviet Union for dominance in space exploration. 2. International Space Station 1998–present. The International Space Station ISS represents one of the most significant collaborations in human spaceflight history. Launched in 1998, it involves multiple space agencies including NASA United States, Roscosmos Russia, ESA European Space Agency, JAXA Japan, and CSA Canada. The ISS serves as a microgravity and space environment research laboratory in which scientific research is conducted in astrobiology, astronomy, meteorology, and other fields. The collaborative nature of the ISS is particularly notable given the varying political climates among the involved nations, exemplifying how international cooperation can transcend geopolitical tensions. 3. The Space Race 1957–1975. The space race was a period of intense competition between the United States and the Soviet Union, characterized by significant advances in space technology. It began with the Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik 1 in 1957, the first artificial satellite, which shocked the US and initiated a series of technological and military developments. The race culminated with the US landing astronauts on the Moon in 1969. This era not only spurred technological innovations but also had profound implications for national security, education, and public policy in both nations. The space race ultimately shaped international relations and set the stage for future collaborations in space exploration. Future outlook: predictions for China and Russia's lunar nuclear plant initiative by 2025. As China and Russia embark on the ambitious project to establish a nuclear power plant on the Moon as part of their International Lunar Research Station (ILRS) initiative, several predictions can be made regarding the implications and outcomes of this endeavor by 2025 and beyond. 1. Technological advancements in space power generation. By 2025, significant advancements in space power generation technology are expected. The development of a lunar nuclear reactor will require breakthroughs in miniaturization, safety, and efficiency. This will likely lead to innovations not only in nuclear technology but also in related fields such as robotics, materials science, and energy storage. The dual reliance on nuclear and solar energy for the lunar base will foster advancements in hybrid energy systems that could be applicable in terrestrial settings, particularly in remote and off-grid areas. 2. Strategic geopolitical shifts. The collaboration between China and Russia in this lunar initiative is anticipated to reshape the geopolitical landscape of space exploration. As Western sanctions have isolated Russia from certain technologies, this partnership will likely deepen, resulting in a more significant consolidation of power in space exploration among non-Western nations. By 2025, we could see a more pronounced shift in the space race dynamics, with China and Russia positioning themselves as leaders in lunar exploration and technology development, potentially challenging U.S. dominance in space. 3. International collaboration and space governance. China's 555 project aims to involve a broad international coalition inviting participation from 50 countries and 5,000 researchers. This collaborative approach, if successful, could lead to the establishment of new frameworks for international cooperation in space. By 2025, the ILRS might serve as a model for future international space ventures, promoting shared governance and resource utilization and potentially addressing regulatory challenges in space law and exploration ethics. 4. Economic implications and investment in space infrastructure. Investments in lunar infrastructure will likely spur economic activity in the aerospace sector. By 2025, as the project gains traction, we might see increased funding from both governmental and private sectors aimed at developing technologies for lunar habitation, resource extraction, and energy production. This could lead to the emergence of new markets and job opportunities in space technology engineering and research. 5. Environmental considerations and sustainability. The focus on nuclear power for sustainable energy on the Moon will likely spotlight environmental considerations in space exploration. By 2025, discussions around the ecological impacts of lunar colonization will intensify. The challenge will be to minimize the environmental footprint of lunar operations while maximizing the potential for sustainable practices such as in situ resource utilization (ISRU) for water and minerals. 6. Public interest and cultural impact. The prospect of a lunar nuclear plant and the broader goals of the ILRS are expected to capture public imagination and interest in space exploration. By 2025, we may witness a resurgence in educational programs focused on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields driven by the excitement surrounding lunar missions. This could cultivate a new generation of scientists and engineers inspired by the possibilities of space. 7. Challenges and risks ahead. Despite the optimistic outlook, several challenges and risks remain. Technical feasibility concerns regarding the deployment and operation of a nuclear reactor in the harsh lunar environment could delay timelines. Additionally, geopolitical tensions may complicate international collaboration efforts, especially if other nations perceive the ILRS as a threat to their interests. By 2025, the effectiveness of the China-Russia partnership may be tested by these challenges, influencing the overall success of the lunar initiative. Conclusion. The China-Russia Lunar Nuclear Plant initiative represents a strategic leap in space power generation with far-reaching implications for technology, geopolitics, international collaboration, and public engagement in space exploration. As we approach the targeted completion date in 2025, the developments in this project are likely to shape the future landscape of not only lunar exploration but also the broader narrative of human presence in space. The outcomes of these efforts will be closely watched as they unfold, with potential lessons applicable to Earth and beyond.